episode of Erica Schmerica Reality Recaps. Today we're going to be talking about 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After, Season 6, Episode 4. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to like and subscribe to my new YouTube channel and go ahead and hit that notification bell. That way you'll get notified when I post all new videos. Let's get started. First up are Kalani and Oswalo. So on this episode, Kalani and her sister Kolini, that gets confusing, Kalani and Lini, are heading over to the furniture store to go check out some furniture for the house that Kalani and Oswalo have yet to purchase. Seems like a great idea. What could go wrong? So while they're walking around, of course, first they had to try out some of the furniture themselves, and Kalani sat on some kind of bench and it just totally gave out on her and fell on the floor, which was embarrassing. But then they found a nice little bed to sit and have their sister talk, because they're going to have that somewhere. So they rehashed the whole relationship with Kalani and Oswalo, and she starts crying as she discusses the fact that Oswalo actually has his own gaming room in the house where he actually sleeps. So they're not currently sleeping in the same bed. Sounds like a little trouble in Samoa paradise. Kolini can't believe what she's hearing. She kind of convinces, her sister to say, me no accept this and move on. But, her sister still wants to kind of try and make things work with Oswalo, even though she doesn't sound like she's too happy. So later on, she goes back and she tries to have that conversation with Oswalo while they're folding laundry. And Oswalo seems slightly receptive. She brought up the fact that they're not really doing so great in the romance department, and that basically Oswalo comes in for conjugal visits or to stare at her pom-poms. And I'm guessing production had something to do with the fact that Kalani just brings up the fact that they should start role-playing to spice up the romance in their lives. So, she's giving all these scenarios. Oswalo couldn't even wrap his brain around the whole entire thing. Anyway, so during all this role-playing talk, Oswalo can't comprehend what she's talking about, is only thinking of dressing up like superheroes. And then, seems to be like lighthearted. They're both on the same page. They're laughing. They're having a good time. And Kalani feels comfortable enough to further express that she's feeling a little bit like, I want you to be thoughtful. I want you to be expressive. I want you to surprise me with things just because. And Oswalo feels that he has done that because he's brought her pizza without her asking, which is nice. I would enjoy that personally. However, she tries to explain that, her brother could do something like that. And that just set Oswalo off running. He didn't want to hear about family Kalani. He didn't understand where she was coming from on that. He flew off the handle. It totally went left and ended in tears. So much like all of their fights, it seemed to be really unproductive and going nowhere. And I wonder what's going to be happening next week. Oh, wait, it's probably going to be Kolini telling her to leave him, like it is every week. Then we had Angela and Michael and Dr. Obeng. I guess we're just going to have to add him into the couple factor at this point because we're seeing more of him than we are of Michael. So Sissy Jojo and Angela finally arrive after 2 episodes of a long car ride to the surgical center, and it's surgery day for Angela. So she walks in the surgical center, she meets with her 2 surgeons, and they're discussing the procedure that's going to take place. Angela kind of confesses that she couldn't help herself to a little smoke and coke before the surgery, which is super dangerous, but no one's telling Mima what to do. The surgical coordinator, Natasha, was there. This time she had a full shirt on, unlike last time when she was just in her bra, but it was a little bit of a Western number. There was fringe involved. So Dr. Obeng decided that maybe he and Angela should call Michael together to calm his nerves and answer any of his questions that he may have about surgery, being that it's taking place in 5 minutes. Might want to have one last say in the procedure. So they call him, and Dr. Obeng tries to put on the charm and tells Michael that he's very handsome, and they sit there and discuss Angela's new boobs. So he says that he's taking her from a full-size tote bag down to a handbag, but he's going to make sure they are perky, and he made sure to use the word perky at least 10 times, while Angela took the phone and let Michael have his very own goodbye with her boobs. Then we saw Angela going under anesthesia, which took probably 12 horse tranquilizers, some oxygen, maybe some laughing gas. I don't know what else, but they finally knocked out Mima. Then, of course, after the procedure was done, they showed the main procedure. They showed Dr. Obeng go in and, readjust Angela's fun bags. And meanwhile, speaking of bags, he was taking out, I don't know if it was her breast tissue, but he's like rearranging her boobs by taking them out in a plastic bag and measuring them on a scale. That was somewhat terrifying. But he made sure that Mima's boobs were 3.5 pounds each, instead of the 5 pounds of fun that she was carrying around. So then he went ahead and closed her all up, and it was time for Angela to wake up from surgery. And they did the same thing they do when anybody else has surgery on this show. And they showed the dramatic close of the scene where they're going, Angela, wake up. And then it's like, to be continued. Now, we know this makes me mad every single week, but Elizabeth and Andre were on this week, and same old story. Oh my God, it's so old already. So Elizabeth is excited because she gets to stay home with baby Eleanor, who I think is her personal makeup artist, but I'm not positive. So Andre is starting his first day of work with Father Chuck, and he's making his lunch in the morning, getting ready to go off to work, and he's equally as cocky making his lunch as he is with every other aspect of his life, just to let you know. So he picks Chuck up in his truck to set out on the job site, and then starts off the day by telling Chuck that next time he picks him up, he's going to charge him because he's just charming. That's just how he is, because he's just charming like that. So on their drive to the job site, Chuck tries to drive home the point that, Andre is going to have to get along with the family Elizabeth, which includes Charlie, who's meeting them at the walkthrough for this new house that they purchased. So they get to the house. Charlie's being Charlie's like, Moldova, there's a door. You're going to do what I say you want to do. And he's like, I don't want to do this. Charlie, Chuck, I want to do with you. It's like, enough already. As they're doing that, because no one cares, all of a sudden Sister Becky walks in, and now she's mad in this stripy dress. They're all yelling at each other. Chuck's ready to walk out. And I'm just schwitzing for them because it's Florida. It's probably summertime. We don't know when this was filmed. This house clearly doesn't have air conditioning. It's the only thing I could think about because I was so bored watching them all fight about the exact same thing. Tune in next week to see absolutely nothing different. Next up, we're Brandon and Julia. So Julia, she's sitting in the kitchen, which I always think about that tub of crickets from their first episode in their kitchen, because that would just do it for me. But nonetheless, she's sitting in the kitchen with Betty, who's got the fluffiest little bangs coming out of her little headband. Adorable. And, she's just reminding Julia of her chores, of her farm chores. So she's going to have to go out and, slop the buckets and put down the hay and whatever it is that she does out there. Poor little Cinder Julia. So after she's done with her chores, she's allowed to go to the big city of Richmond for her big time interview / internship, possibly, with a bridal event coordinator. So she goes in and meets with this woman, Christine, who thinks she's adorable, because she is adorable. And they sit down to discuss what all event planning and bridal planning entails. And of course, Christine does tell her that communication is key and that that's something that she's probably going to have to work on. While they went over Julia's resume, which included waitressing, something about working for court or prison, not really clear, bodybuilding, and now farm life. Very, very diverse portfolio she had. She didn't have anything in the whole bridal field. So this woman tried to drive home the point that brides get crazy. I can tell you firsthand. And, you need to be a calming presence. So she said that you need to know communication. You need to be able to speak openly with people. And that's something she's going to have to work with. Now, of course, that means that Brandon was right when they were in Vegas and said that she needs to work on her communication skills. But we may or may not tell him about that because he was annoying anyway. So when she headed home, Brandon was home from a busy day of bug squishing. He was sitting on his bed, relaxing and playing video games when she walked in and discussed her interview. So Brandon suggested that maybe she hang out with his friend, who's a girl who he knew from high school. And Julia went into full-on psycho mood. I mean, she went from 0 to Natalie in no time flat. So she refuses to be friends with Brandon's female friend because she thinks that there's no way that a girl can be friends with a guy and that it would be platonic because girls are sneaky. So I'm guessing that next week they're probably all going to meet up and she's probably going to be mad about something, and that's where we're taking this storyline in that direction. Then there were Yara and Bon Jovi. So Yara and Jovi went out to a romantic dinner out on the water with baby Mila as their third wheel in her stroller. Yara couldn't seem to concentrate the entire dinner because she was very concerned with baby Mila's every move, even though it did seem like she was sleeping in her stroller. So while, Jovi was trying to talk and he was trying to talk about, going on a romantic vacation, which of course is absurd because she just had a baby. But, nonetheless, he was trying to be nice. I mean, every word he said, she was too busy worrying about the sun, the position of the sun, the baby's foot. She was a little over the top. And I say that as from mom experience. She was a little bit over the top. Then she fed the baby at the table, which the baby was hungry and she had to do that. And Jovi was really taken aback. He didn't think that could happen in public. And I guess that just never happened at the strip club when he was there. So anyway, they left early because she was too worried about the baby there, and they went home, and Jovi was trying to express that she's kind of over the top with the baby and she needs to take it down a notch because he wants to do dad things too. And I'll give him credit, although he was a little bit rough with a newborn baby, it seemed like. He was trying to hold her, feed her, he was trying to pick her up, and everything she did, Yara was correcting him, and it was really annoying. He thinks that she should just take him up on all the offers for help right now since he's going to be gone and she's going to have to do everything herself. And she claims to be feeling like a single mother already. Good thing Mama Gwen is not far from them, so she can come over and save the day yet again. Next up were Big Mike and Natalie. So they left off with Natalie sitting alone in her hotel room in Seattle because Big Mike had left her there after she had brought something stupid up that made him mad, and he returned to Squim, leaving her all alone. So she decided to take the drive back to Squim to hash things out and try and make up. So she met up with him awkwardly, as usual, on the driveway wearing a face mask while he was just standing there, and she's just staring blankly at him like she loves to do. And then she apologized for bringing things up from the past that are no longer an issue. Mike just kind of stood there smugly like he always does. And, it was as exciting as ever. So I'm pretty sure that they're still together at this point because Natalie is the closest thing to an alien that Big Mike can find on Earth. I don't know. Anyway, so after all that, Natalie got really goofy. She did some kind of apology dance. She's so wiggly. She did her little dance and all was forgiven. Then later on, Mike FaceTimed his mom, Mrs. Butterworth, to discuss the upcoming trip to Tulsa to visit her for Thanksgiving. So of course, his mom seemed a little hesitant. She wanted to object at their wedding, and she didn't want Natalie starting any drama at her Thanksgiving table. She was planning on making a beautiful spread, getting her bangs nice and fluffy for the occasion. She didn't need Natalie's drama. So Mike also reminded his mother that Natalie is a vegetarian and isn't going to eat turkey, but she does eat fish, to which Mike's mom replied that there's a river and maybe she could go catch her own fish. Shady, I will say. Hopefully while they're gone, Uncle Bo throws a rager at the house, leaving beer bottles and pizza on the turntable. Lastly for this episode were Tiffany and Ronald. And I could really summarize the entire segment by saying a girl with an off-the-shoulder shirt fought on FaceTime with her long-distance husband while her young son is more mature than both of them. Would that sum it up? Should I explain further? Okay, fine. Tiffany and her son Daniel were putting together furniture in their brand new apartment. Then they FaceTimed Ronald and then they got in a fight. There's the extended version. Thanks so much for joining me again this week for another episode of Erica Schmerica's Reality Recaps. Please make sure to like and subscribe to my new YouTube channel and go ahead and hit the notification bell to get notified for all of my videos. Thanks so much for joining. I'll see you guys next week. Bye!